Hello, everyone. This is Will.
This is Alex.
Welcome back to another episode of They Mostly Come Out at Night.
Mostly
I'm Evil.
evil.
You can call me Evil.
New Year's evil.
Dude,
In all seriousness, though,
this movie is actually great, though. We started out making fun of it. Nah, this movie is good. Is some good stuff right here. Okay.
this is some fun shit.
It really is. This is some fun stuff.
This is what they call a canon movie.
Yeah. I I liked this a lot, actually. Man, I'm so happy we're in the 80s because it's just oof.
You get things like this.
The lighting is great. You get just things drenched in neon, and you get interesting soundtracks going on now with rock music coming into the play, and punk music and stuff. Just everything going on. It's just totally 80s. 80s are here, and I'm so excited.
The soundtrack to this is
It's really good.
fantastic.
It's really good. I thought they were going to keep playing the same song over and over, but they didn't, which was good.
They boomed you.
And man, this whole movie kind of boomed me in a way, because you first see it because we watched New Year's Evil, right? So you first see it, you see the poster, and you're like, okay, it's just gonna be a generic, stupid ass slasher flick called New Year's Evil. What a pun, It's
We got another pun coming later the year.
It's you know what you're in for, and it's I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, but my expectations were low.
Yeah.
But this kind of exceeded them, and I'm happy to say that I actually really enjoyed this movie, and it kind of blew my expectations out of the water. I did not expect to have as much fun as I did with this movie. But damn it, is it entertaining as hell.
I liked this a lot. This is fun. I previewed 5 minutes of this thing just to make sure it's not a fucking hee-haw comedy. So I basically watched a little snippet of the opening with the rock song and the credits. So I was already okay, I'm probably gonna like this.
Yeah. I would say at this point, before we get into the play-by-play, if you're into 80s slasher movies, you should probably go watch this.
Oh yeah.
It's worth a watch. It's only an hour and 35 minutes long. Go watch it and then come back and just listen to us gush about it, because it for any problems I had, they're just totally swept by, they're swept under the rug by all the stuff I liked about the movie.
Yeah.
Because I did think a few plot points didn't go as far as they should have, and they kind of left things kind of too open in certain parts, in my opinion. But those are it's small little nitpicks. It doesn't take away from the overall entertainment value. And I can totally see how someone would think this is total shit, right?
Oh, I get it, but I don't.
I don't
care.
I don't really get it either, because it's just turn your brain off and enjoy the ride. Yes, it's cheesy. Yes, it's campy, but that adds to the entertainment.
It's a slasher movie.
Yes, it's not supposed to be super serious the whole entire movie.
Look, you either get it or you don't.
But
I get it.
If you're into kind of campy, cheesy slasher movies, please watch this movie before you get it spoiled by two dudes in a basement. Just go.
Just give it a fucking go.
Just give it a go, shoot your shot, and then come back here and listen to us.
You'll never know if you don't shoot your shot, as a wise man once said.
It's true. But yeah, so I guess we'll just get into it. But here's New Year's Evil.
So we get in the beginning. It's they're setting up for this New Year's show, where they're gonna take phone calls and play the hottest, hippest, new wave rock punk music.
It's almost like Total Request Live, but way cooler.
Way cooler.
And 80s.
And apparently, you can just swear like a fucking sailor
Does
and no
anyone,
one.
did I just date myself? Does anyone remember?
I remember
Carson,
TRL.
Carson Daly and TRL.
I remember TRL. The biggest scam of TRL, my dude, is that it'd be like you can request songs, and then they play like a minute of a music video.
I know. I would always watch it and be like, "Oh my god, yes, I love it." Oh,
It's a minute.
over.
I was done.
And then like stupid teens screaming at Carson Daly. It's just like
It's not quite the audience in this movie.
no, it's not. Where it's just a random ass like crowd dancing to a punk band every once in a while.
Dude, they're just shoving into each other, like moshing and like.
It's like they got a bunch of random people and we're just like, hey, just like pretend this is a real concert
Just
and like
go insane.
just mosh.
Just go ham. But they're setting up this concert, and we get our main character who's like the hostess.
Her name is
the concert.
Her stage name is Blaze.
Yeah.
But it's like Diane something. Like I can't remember their last name, but like she's getting ready and she's getting all this like pop, like really like heavy makeup and like this like flashy outfit on and everything.
Yeah. And then
Then
her son walks in, and I was like, she's a mom? Okay, this is fine. But her son walks in, and he's really, he wants to tell her about his part that he got in a TV show.
So I thought they did this a little later, because don't we see like the one woman getting murdered and then they have the joyride and then the son comes in once she's getting dressed?
Am I crazy?
I think so.
Okay.
So just real quick, so before the sun comes in, because you're right, that does happen, because there's two like very quick scenes.
Yeah, because so it's like
Her friend,
who also I guess is like she kind of works with her in like the business, so to speak, but she's also kind of like putting on makeup, and she's in her bathroom.
and she keeps hearing this like water dripping, so she turns off the bathtub, and then she hears like a knock at the door.
Well, it's not a knock; it's like someone like jiggling the handle and opening it a little bit.
And then so she goes in and inspects that, and then the water starts dripping again. And then she turns the water off and gets pulled into the bathtub.
And you see like a knife come out.
You see him like switch a switchblade and then pull her into past the curtain, and you hear cutting noises.
And opening credits.
And then the opening credits over a bunch of like punks like free riding in the streets and spitting on other drivers.
Spitting
and,
on drivers and like
looking at titties from a van and just
all set to
total mayhem to the theme song.
To the theme song,
New Year's Evil.
Called New Year's Evil, and it's a goddamn jam.
If this wasn't gonna get flagged, I would. I
don't know if anyone owns the copyright on this song, but
I hope they don't. But just it's on. If it's even on Spotify, just like a New Year's Evil, and it'll come up. It's
by Shadow.
It's a bop. It is so good. It is. Oh God, I love this theme song.
It's great, and it's just like them writing down like fucking Sunset Strip or whatever, just having a fucking ball.
So now, back to where Alex was.
Well, so first we see them pull up to like the show.
Yeah.
It's like a hotel, and they're like asking them for their tickets, and they're all fucking goofing around, and then we get the sun comes in.
Yep, now the sun comes in, and this is where now we're back up to the timeline. So I just wanted to go over those two quick scenes, because they're not like super important, but they're just kind of fun little introduction scenes.
Oh, it's great.
Of like the whole like tone of the movie, because it's like literally you get the juxtaposition of the woman getting murdered in the bathtub, and then the punk song
and the fucking awesome song,
like, people like being all rowdy and shit, because that's literally the entire movie. Is like someone will get murdered and there's rowdy shit, and then there's rowdy shit, and then someone gets murdered, and there's shit murder, like rowdy shit murder, like it's the whole fucking movie.
It's great.
It's awesome. So yeah, the son is all angry because the mom's like barely paying any attention to him,
because he's like trying to tell her like about like how he got this part and like all this stuff, but she's just focused on the show.
Well, and I think, oh my God, they're trying to imply that this has happened before, but like she's literally getting like ready to go down in like minutes on live television, so of course she would be busy.
Yeah. And
this is one of my major nitpicks with this movie, is they don't really they try and establish like this disconnect between the mom and the son, but it doesn't, it's not really believable in a way. like I don't know, like
No, I mean, it's
not
only-
it's not convincing. I get what they're trying to do, but it just didn't convince me that that's what's going on. Like why the son's so like upset and angry. Maybe it's just me, but I didn't feel that. I didn't feel for the son being neglected by his mom.
I mean, it's only convincing if you like consider that like they're supposed to imply that this happens all the time.
And I get that, but they didn't really have that air. Like it's just
Yeah.
like because like the mom is literally going on live television. She's a TV show host. I get she ignores her son, but she does try and invite him down and wants to see him there and everything. So she's not like the most neglectful parent
Yeah.
we've ever seen in a movie. And that's why I wasn't convinced by that. Like I was just like okay. But again, little nitpick. That's like again one of the little things I had about this movie. I didn't really get that whole
Yeah.
subplot, and it doesn't really go anywhere. So
Well, you get the ending, the
right.
boom.
Well, yeah, and I understand that, but like I just it doesn't pay off as well as I
Yeah.
think it could have if they established this more.
Yeah.
Like even if the son had said like something like, "Oh, you like like you do this every single time and you always ignore me." He never says anything like that.
No, he just
He just gets really
gets quiet.
upset and then says like, "Okay, I'm just gonna watch it here," like a little crybaby. Even though after she like invites him to watch it like live and like come down and support her. So now we get it's called Hollywood Hotline. It's like this big punk show, New Year's Eve thing. They're doing a multicast with a bunch of different networks.
in each time zone.
And
They're counting down to midnight.
they're
on New
basically going to
Year's.
drop the ball in 4 different locations because of different time zones. So they have New York, Chicago, California, and
Aspen.
Aspen, Colorado, of all places.
For mountain time, out of every place, it's Aspen.
They couldn't. I mean, if you're gonna go Colorado, why not Denver?
Yeah, I mean,
Denver's the big city. Maybe back in the maybe I just don't know. I wasn't born then, so it's like maybe back in the 80s, Aspen was a huge thing.
Aspen was hopping,
Maybe Aspen was hot shit back then.
and it's all like the skiers and
Like, I have nothing against Aspen. Like, if there's any listeners in Aspen, I'm sorry. I have nothing against you. I just don't know why you're...
it's not the metropolis.
Why were you hot shit in the 80s? That's all I'm asking.
They had the best cocaine.
I guess they did.
Okay,
All that powder on the ground,
it's not snow.
In Aspen, Colorado, the cocaine flows freely.
If
It flows so much you can ski and snowboard on it. Skateboard, wow. Snowboard on it. Okay, so anyway, so she's doing the hotline. One person requests, we don't need no education.
which is a riff on Pink Floyd.
Yep, and then she answers the next call, and it's this guy with this, like, distorted voice.
He's using like this voice modulator, and he says his name is Evil,
You can call me Eval.
and he's gonna kill someone at the drop of midnight. For every time zone, someone's gonna die.
This is okay. So this is like the major nitpick I have with this movie. Like, is this specific call
Yeah.
just because of what he says in the call?
See, I don't remember him saying like it'll be someone important
He does say that.
because he only.
At least, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he does say like it'll be someone significant to you.
Maybe I missed that.
Maybe I'll have to watch it again, but I swear to God he says something like that where it's like someone like that's important to you. But maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Because
But
I mean, spoilers. He only kills one person significant to her
yes.
by the end.
Or maybe he mentioned something like, "I've already killed someone significant to you." Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like
Possibly.
it was like an hour ago, so I can't really.
It was an
remember.
hour ago, and
I
it was
can't-
2 beers ago.
I can't remember all the specifics, and yes, I am getting a little bit of a buzz. So like, sue me if I'm wrong, okay?
It was 2 beers ago, so possibly. But essentially, that's the gimmick of the movie. Is at midnight, each time zone, someone's gonna die.
Yep. And again, that's a small bitch because it does work out in the end. Like, there's a reason he's doing all this, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason for it. So it's like, I can't bitch too much because it's not like a gigantic plot hole or anything.
And don't worry, we get an awesome movie.
So then she's like, well, whatever. Like, doesn't think it's like a real phone call.
But she
Like,
does end up telling somebody about it. Like,
she does like beef up security because of it, because she is a little worried that someone's gonna like attack the studio or something.
yeah.
So she does call in like a detective, and they beef up security and whatever. So she takes a few more calls, and then the band, they're like, okay, now we have Shadow with New Year's Evil, and I'm
And
like,
we
they're
get the
really.
song.
This was the point where I thought they were gonna play that song like the whole movie. They don't, so don't worry. But I didn't really care because the fucking main theme is great.
But we get other.
But we get other songs, so don't worry. You get more punk songs and some blues stuff, which is odd.
We'll get there.
But so now,
Because we get the guy, we see him like exiting the phone booth that he's calling from.
yep, he gets off the phone from calling Hollywood Hotline and goes into a sanitarium.
And they're watching the fucking punk rock telecast.
Yep. All the while you hear the theme for the movie.
You hear the theme as he's like goes in there. He goes in like a closet, dresses up as like a orderly, and meets this woman.
He like immediately starts macking on this woman.
Oh yeah, and he just starts flirting with her and is like,
I know he's like a good-looking guy, so she's like, she's into it and everything.
he has a fucking.
He has like smooth moves too. Like he knows what the fuck he's doing.
He knows what to say, and he pulls out a fucking bottle of champagne and.
And I want you to remember this because again, this is another thing I had wrong with the movie. This is like another like small bitch. And I think that ends my bitches. It's just 3, I think. But
What's this one?
I'll get to the end. I'll tell you in a minute.
Oh,
Do you want me to say it now?
sure.
It's like a big spoiler, so
Oh, we'll keep going.
okay. All right, I'll just say it at the end, but just remember this because I think again, if I'm hearing the like the dialogue wrong in the movie, we'll see. But
I'm not sure what you're referring to, but we'll get there.
it's okay. We'll get there. I'll explain. I'll explain everything. Don't worry.
Because he
Just remind me to get back to that because after it's probably gonna have to be after we get through with the play-by-play.
okay.
So he gets the sanitarium. He macks on this woman. He pulls out the champagne and like they go into a private room.
And they have like the little fucking medicine paper cups, and they pour the champagne in there as they're waiting for the countdown in New York.
Yep. So as this is going on, this is when she's beefing up security.
We also get they put on a fucking. This is when they play the blues slow jam.
Yep. So they play the blues slow jam while she's like trying to talk to the security guy about like saying like, hey, like we just need to like up security here and everything.
And then they're like, it's probably just a fucking crank.
Yes.
But we'll be here. And they're playing the fucking slow blues sex music as the guy and the woman are dancing.
Yep. And then he lays her down on like the gurney and like starts like kissing her down there, and then like you can see as they're like there's like 30 seconds left, and he starts recording.
And he turns on his recorder, and it starts fucking. The countdown's going like 10, 9, 8, 7. He pulls out his knife. And as soon as it hits midnight,
He stabs her and records her screaming.
records her screaming.
And I love these. I love the sound editing. I love when sound editing does this, where she's like screaming and the screaming goes into the band, like the
'cause
the
it's
lead
like
singer screaming at the same pitch.
Well, that and like it also does like he stabs her, and it's like the fucking people watching the New Year's ball drop are blowing on that like
The horns.
horn that like rolls out of your mouth.
Yep.
It's clever.
And so then, so she's like expecting a next call, and I guess so. When they were beefing up security, they were like, "Hey, like next, if he's gonna call again, keep him on the phone, and we can triangulate the call and like figure out where he is."
Yeah.
So he calls again, and he explains that he's killed someone because she like he doesn't give a list of demands. He's just gonna kill someone.
Well, he's just gonna kill someone, and then at the very end of the night, he's gonna kill her.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
So
But he plays the audio, and they hear it, and so the cop, and he also tells her like where to go, like or the cops where to go,
yeah, he tells them exactly where he is.
like where the murder
because
happened.
He's just gonna leave. He's like, "Oh, you can find the body at the sanitarium."
Yeah.
And like bye, Felicia. You know, like he's like, bye, bitch. I'm out. Like you're not gonna find me. You're gonna find the
Yeah.
body.
And then like one of the other orderlies is like walking around and sees a shoe, a bloody shoe, and opens up the fucking like closet, and it's just like the woman that he killed with like her throat cut.
This is where we get like, I don't know. The movie gets kind of like. I'm glad these scenes don't last long with the son. Like I don't know what the fuck is going on half the time with these fucking like.
All that it's doing is telling you that that dude ain't right.
Yeah,
That's what you get. That dude ain't right.
We get like a little scene of the son, like the mom calls the son in the room to check up on him,
And he's
he,
taking
like,
pills.
Wait, like slowly, like
Answers the
oh
phone.
my god, like a snail's pace, reaches for the phone and answers it, takes some pills. I thought he was like committing suicide or something, and then like starts sniffing his mom's like panties, and then like cuts them, and then like not panties, like pantyhose, and like cuts them, and then like puts it over his fucking face, and then like
Starts watching like his mom gyrating on
and
the
then
TV. Oh, and he pierces his ear.
He pierces his own ear just like for no reason, and is like, "Why don't you like?" It's basically like, "Why don't you love me?" And like,
You think I'm insane?
you think
like,
I'm nuts? And I'm just like, "Yeah, we kind of do right now."
it's like, yep, we do actually.
Yeah, dude's off his rocker right now. So anyway, then we like get her. Then it's like at the actual like hotline thing, and she's like dancing to the music, and it's like another fake band. It's what like
Made in Japan.
Made in Japan, and they're like dancing and everything. And we get I love the scenes of the crowd because
It's just
again
ham.
again they're just going absolutely nuts.
They gave him that good fucking cocaine, and they're
They
just
did.
going insane.
I love it. It's hilarious to watch the crowd in this. It's the best like fake crowd ever. It's so good. It's so amazing. So anyway, now we get a quick scene of the guy, like our murderer guy. He's putting on like a fake mustache and like a suit.
And he goes into like a bar where they're playing like this like disco shit.
And again, the crowd is amazing because it's like all these like middle-aged people now like just dancing.
Yeah, it's like the other, like the punk is just like all these like super young people dressed as like punk rockers going insane, and then it cuts to this bar and it's all these like middle-aged couples in like suits
Yes.
just like slow bopping.
Yep. It's fucking great.
And he sees these two women at the bar, and like one of them walks away, and he has his target.
Yep.
And he starts macking on this woman and like telling her how he knows Eric Estrada and he's gonna go to a party with him and all this stuff, and like, you should come with me.
Well, and we also get a quick scene of them saying, okay, like, well, he's obviously murdered people.
We know he's murdered
He's
somebody.
telling Blaze, like, he's murdered someone. You're, like, literally the only contact that he has
Yeah.
at the moment, so you need to keep him on the phone next time or whatever.
Like, keep him on the phone longer.
Yeah, they're trying to, like, get to where this guy is, because he's obviously going to kill again.
And they do like other like investigative stuff. Like they ask her like, you know, even though he is using like a voice modulator, like, does he sound familiar in any way?
Yes.
He doesn't. But he picks up this woman and she drags her friend along.
Yep, and he's like super annoyed. You can tell because they're both talking, and he's just like chauffeuring them around.
Well, because he's like
while he's on a time
staring
crunch.
at his like clock.
Well, because he has to kill someone by midnight. Like that's
Each hour.
the rules, right?
Yeah.
That's his own rules.
And like the woman's just talking about like how she does like transcendental meditation, and she's like, yeah, it helped me with my, what the fuck was it? She had like some sort of disorder, and she's like, gonna help my friend with her explosive diarrhea.
Yep, and then she's like, "Stop it!"
And her friend's like, please don't. And she just talks about like all the like stupid like self-help shit.
I just love it because it's pretty hilarious, like, just seeing how annoyed and how like frustrated he's getting because he's looking at like he's like, God, I need to kill one of these like ladies by like midnight.
And then they're like, one of them's like, can we make a pit stop?
And so they stop at a liquor store, and he's like, perfect. He's like, hey, you want some weed? And
Well, no, he tells one of them like, he gives her like $100 bill, and he's like, just get the best like most expensive bottle of champagne you can. Sends her away. Tells the other one like you want some grass, some good stuff.
I fucking love this scene. This is the best fucking bag murder on the planet.
Well, he has the bag of weed, and he just drapes it over her head and chokes her to death. And as she's choking, you can see
the fucking weed in the
bag.
goddamn bag.
Like, our dude has some fucking weed, probably expensive, and it just fuck it.
He's just killing a girl with a weed bag. It's great. I loved this murder scene. It's so fucking like I don't give a fuck.
He's on a mission.
Because he doesn't even dump it out. Like he doesn't even like quote unquote accidentally like dump the weed out and then
he just leaves it in there.
He's like fuck it. He's like you need to die. It's almost midnight. But like so he kills her and
the other woman walks out and the car is gone.
Yep, and
there's just a shoe.
So she finds a shoe. And then she starts walking, and she's another shoe, and then she sees that's
a part of the dress,
the blouse hanging out of the dumpster, and she's like, "Oh no!" And I'm like, "Here we go!" Like,
she's gonna find the body.
How'd he display her this time?
But she opens it, and it's him.
It's him, and
with a fucking lighter in front of his face.
And he drags her into the dumpster, and you just hear them tossling in the dumpster.
And then you get another phone call, and he again gives him the address. Everything.
So
they show up and they find the fucking dumpster with all the shoes and everything, and the cop opens it. There's a little drop of blood there.
And there's a little kitty cat that comes out,
and we get a kitten jump scare, and the cop is more blood.
The kitten jump scare, the best jump scare in any horror movie.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's probably the only jump scare in the movie.
Well, I love how the only jump scare in the whole movie is a fake out, with a fucking cat.
The actual numerous deaths, they just don't give a fuck. They're like, here you go.
You can't even technically call the one where she finds the dude in the dumpster a jump scare, because it's not like it happens suddenly. She slowly opens the lid, and then he turns on the lighter.
They don't do the loud music or anything either. Which, I mean, hey, I appreciate it.
So this was I'll be honest, this was probably the creepiest imagery of the entire movie, when the cops find the bodies of the two women.
Because they're following this blood trail, and it's a POV shot of just someone shining a flashlight, and you get this woman just kind of displayed in someone's yard.
She's hanging on these two the things the hanging rings.
For a playground.
Yeah, I don't know what you call them, but she's both her arms are in these rings, and she's leaning forward, and there's a bloody weed bag over her.
So it's still got the weed in the bag, mind you. And they find her, and then they go over.
This is money shots for slashers.
Yeah.
This shot coming up is Kino money shot for a slasher flick. I loved this fucking...
I know.
For slasher fans, this was fucking perfect.
Because the one bitch about this movie is that there's not a lot of on-screen blood.
No, but this is probably the goriest you see in the entire movie.
But in any good slasher, you have to have the scenes where they find the bodies and it's a money shot. So he POV is looking around, and there's a little playground slide, and he sees a bloody
purse,
a purse, and he picks it up, and as it's on camera, the fucking body just slides down the fucking slide, and you see her head and the throat, and
I don't know. That was set up so well. I really loved it. I don't care how they try. They don't. The beauty of it, they don't even try and explain how how the murderer set that up.
We don't need it. We don't need it.
Because that would never fucking happen.
No, and I don't care.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fucking fine.
I love the imagery, and I don't know. We were talking. For some reason, even from 79, the jump from 79 to 80, the lighting, I don't know what it is about lighting in the 80s, but it got a million times better.
Yeah, because
dark. I'm so sorry. Specifically dark scenes.
Lighting,
lighting dark scenes.
Especially I don't know why. but nighttime scenes
Well, even like
just look so good.
even like natural lighting, like they do like street lamps, they look better. They're brighter. They're like you can see more like detail and everything. Like this whole scene was like illuminated by fucking flashlights, and it looks a million times better than anything we saw in the 70s.
I know.
It's
I
like,
know.
it's fucking weird.
I know. And but he's like, and then it's like, on to the next victim. So he's driving down this road, and he's dressed like a fucking like priest.
This is like the weirdest fucking like scene.
This is the weirdest like veer off, because he's like dressed as a priest, and he's at a fucking stoplight, and these bikers start hassling him.
They like flip him off and everything, and so what happens? Like, how does he like crash into one of them?
Well, he's like distracted, and he's not looking, and then he just smashes into one of their bikes.
Yeah,
And they start attacking him.
and then he like backs up and like reverses, and like there's a little chase scene.
Well, he drives into a drive-in that's playing a fucking the world's longest horror trailer, apparently.
Yeah, for Blood
Blood
Feast
Feast and-
and
Blood something? I don't even know.
I don't even know. They're like kind of fit. One of them is an actual real movie.
I think Blood Feast is real.
Blood Feast is a real movie, but like it's like there's a whole thing about it on the IMDb trivia page. You go look at it. I don't want to explain it right now.
It's a thing.
It doesn't matter, because it's just like these like kind of like fake-ish horror trailers, and he's just watching it and then trying to hide from this motorcycle gang.
And then they just drive in there, and he sees them, and he gets out, and they just start like looking for like because he drives a Mercedes.
We
they
also
just, they just start harassing every Mercedes they can find.
Well, we also get scenes of like a dude like fondling like a woman's breasts, and like they're like she's like not now, maybe in the next movie.
No, he's like, please. She's like, not now, maybe on Monday. And but he just keeps fondling her like.
And then so our dude sees the motorcyclist coming. He's like, oh fuck, and so he like gets out of the car and like literally like takes the kid like.
Well, no, I forget. He runs into a biker and it stabs him to death.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's like. Well, no, sorry, I wrote it in my notes. Okay, I got the actual quote.
Because the biker is like, "What's up, fucker?" or something.
Yeah, he's like, "What's up, fucker?" And he's like, "I'm a man of God, not violent," and immediately fucking stabs the dude, like just like immediately after saying, "I'm a man of God, not violence." And then
he finds the car with the couple,
and like beats the shit out of the guy, throws him out, and fucking like carjacks the car
with the woman still in there, and drives out of there. And then he's just, the time's ticking.
He's basically like, the time's ticking. And he's like, this will have to do. You know what? I'm just fucking, because he doesn't even bother to get the girl out of the car. Like, she just stays in the car, so he's like, fuck it. Like, it's fine.
Well,
whatever, I don't have any
like
time.
Pleading for her life, like, do you need money? Like, we can do it if you want to.
So, like, almost runs into these two drunk guys, like, leaving on a New Year's Eve party, and they...
And they're just like, what the fuck are you doing?
He's like, what the fuck?
And then he's like, watch where you're fucking going. And the woman runs into the park.
And then the guy runs, and then the police show up and investigate, like, the car and everything.
Well, they show up, and they're mostly, like, talking to the fucking drunks, and they're like, there's a fucking psycho in the woods, like... And he's, like, looking for her, and she's hiding under, like... It's like a bathroom or something.
It's like, so it's in a park, so they're next to where, like...
It's like a baseball field.
Baseball field, so I think it's like a bathroom or like a concession stand kind of thing.
And he's getting closer and closer to her, and he knows where she is, and then as soon as he's gonna, like, pounce, cop calls.
Well, because he's, like, taunting her. He's,
Yeah.
like, tapping on, like, everything with his knife and
getting
everything.
closer and closer.
He's, like, smiling, you think he's gonna, like, like, fucking get his next body before midnight, but nah. The cops show up before they can. He has to run.
And then we see, like...
Our dude failed.
And then the next thing is, like, the cops basically lock down the concert thing.
They basically tell the attendees, like, if you leave this dance floor, you will not be allowed back in.
Because they're thinking that the guy is probably gonna be among them.
So we get the exterior of the studio.
And they're, like, trying to...
Like, one guy's trying to get in.
And they're not letting anybody
They're not letting anyone in. and our dude shows up in like a yellow, like,
He like hitchhiked.
yeah, he hitchhiked
And he's
there.
like, "Go with God,
He's
son."
going with God, son, and like still in character with the fucking priest.
And then he goes like around because he sees
So
they're not letting anybody in.
Yeah, because the whole reason they were showing the guy not being let in is so that our murderer guy can see that they're not like letting.
No matter
anyone in.
what, yeah.
And at this point, honestly, you could probably guess who the murderer is, because they kind of keep mentioning the husband is away somewhere.
Well, because in the beginning of the movie, the main woman calls him, and she's just kind of annoyed, and she's just like, "Oh, he's just fucking taking cocaine and like doing his shit."
Yeah.
Whereas the son tries calling him and just says he can't get through to him.
Yes. So you kind of piece together what's going on, but like that's not the point of the movie, so it's fine.
It's okay. And he goes around the back.
He goes around the back. He goes in the parking garage and sees like 2 cops patrolling the entrance from the parking garage. So he like calls one of them over with a country yokel accent.
Hey, there's a drunk over here.
Hey, come over here, cop. I think I found a drunk over here.
And then he walks over and he nails him with a brick
Like bashes him over the head.
and takes his uniform and walks in
Yep.
and starts like, he gets down to like, it's like the maintenance floor
What's weird is he has like a steamer trunk full of just equipment there.
that he can use to like rig up the elevator.
So he like gets changed in like a tracksuit, and then we get a scene of the woman. She's gonna go change like outfits for the next 2 like ball drops.
And the cop is there, and he's been ordered to like follow her around everywhere. So he like investigates her room and everything.
Right. So she,
And then he just finds the son in there, and he's kind of just peeved at her.
yeah, he gets upset and he leaves in like a hurry, right? And so she's like changing and she's getting like new makeup on, and we see
the mask.
our mask.
Which
wow.
I mean, it's not really like. I mean, it's not even a big deal because we know.
Well, and the thing is, it's like, why I get what they were going for with the mask after seeing the movie, but it obviously didn't spawn a franchise, so there's no point.
It's a slasher movie, and I think they figured every fucking killer needs a mask.
Well, and they're like, oh, well, maybe if this does spawn a franchise, at least we'll have a mask to, like, have the murderer in.
It is the weirdest fucking mask I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what it is. It's like an old dude making, like, a fucking...
It looks like a fucking mix of, like, those really racist movies where they would, like, tape their eyes, like,
Oh,
back.
pretend to be Asians?
It's like a mix of that and, like, Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
I swear to God, they just like combined both of those, and we're just like a cartoonization of Richard Nixon and a cartoonization of white dudes trying to play Asian people
together
like in a mask.
I don't
weird. Fucking understand it. I don't know why they chose this mask. It doesn't look frightening. It just looks hilarious, and it's like meme movie mask. It's like,
well, because every time you see it, it just looks like a fucking like creep. Like,
it's ridiculous.
It looks like someone who farted
It is
and is waiting for everyone in the room to like sniff it.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
That's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. It is absolutely insane.
But he walks up to her and she sees it, and then he takes it off, and it's the husband.
It's the hubby, and we get that she thinks it's the husband, and we now immediately, if you didn't know now, you know, because she literally reacts like it's the husband, and we know it's the murderer because we've seen him on screen murdering people. So they don't hide it or anything.
So it's him, and he's like, this is like, I wanted to surprise you and all this stuff.
And this conversation escalates very quickly because he goes into like how she's neglecting like the son and stuff like that.
And she's like, well, we don't have time to like discuss this now.
Yeah, it's like I gotta go.
She also mentions like, well, I don't know if you know, like something's been going on. Like, and he's like, what? She's like, well, you haven't watched like the news or anything. And then she has to go on to like do the remaining stuff. And he's like, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be down there. And she's like, how did you get in? Oh no, because as they're leaving, one of the cops is like, how did you get in? Like, we're not letting anybody in.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I called her agent," and the cops immediately like, "This
He,
bullshit."
like, no, and well, he said he called the agent, and then the agent like talked to one of the detectives or like one of the cops, and he gives like a fake badge number. I don't know why he has such an elaborate.
It's very elaborate.
But the cop immediately thinks it's suspicious because it is, and goes and investigates it.
Well, he calls like someone else to like ask them like what the deal is.
So now, it gives a reason why the cops spring into action though. So I guess it makes sense.
Well,
But,
it's there for a reason.
So anyway, now the guy he goes back into the maintenance hatch and gets on the cameras and he can manipulate the elevators now.
So he's looking at the elevator as the cop is riding down to like where the concert is with our main character, and he starts fucking with the elevator.
Yeah, and like you know
Like he
she's
stops it, and then he just drops the elevator.
Yep. So he drops it all the way down to his level, stops it immediately. So they're kind of like, you know, laying on the floor,
They're
all
disoriented.
like disoriented. He knocks the cop out with his like,
Just kicks him,
He kicks him in the face.
and then like
He gets the woman up and like, basically, it's weird. At first he acts like he's saving her, like right, because he acts like he found the elevator and like it went down all fast, and she's like very thankful.
but she's still saying like I have to like the show must go on
And
basically.
then she's like, the show must go on, and then he like immediately snaps.
We
Like,
also
this
get
is-
like I don't remember when, but at some point a scene of like the cops talking to like the producer being like,
well, he also
this
talks
guy-
to the main detective and saying like, hey, like
did you okay this guy to come in?
And like they're like, no, we didn't.
But then they find out also like that the husband spent time in the sanitarium.
Okay, so this is my question. Okay, and like I said, this is my small bitch. This is like where I wanted to reveal. This is like what I was going to talk about. So if the husband spent time in the sanitarium, I guess that would make sense because maybe the orderly is new or whatever, and she didn't recognize him. But
Yeah.
when one of the people recognize him in the sanitarium,
I mean, it would depend on
he only
when they
ran
say
into
when.
one. He only ran into one person.
Yeah.
I know that, but like, I guess maybe she didn't work there when. I guess yeah. When did he spend time at the?
Because he could have been there when he was young,
Yeah, it's true.
not now.
That's fair. They just never really explain any of that, like that he had any connection with the sanitarium.
My assumption is that he was there when he was like young, because I doubt that he was there, you know, when he married the fucking woman.
It would have just been cool to like see him show like maybe like some disdain for the sanitarium, like maybe like some foreshadowing.
No, it's all about getting back. Well,
I mean, I understand, but
it's
like
about getting back at.
like I
his
said, it's
waifu.
it's such a small bitch. It doesn't even matter. So
It doesn't matter because
really
at the end of the
doesn't.
day, he just doesn't like women.
well, so he snaps and he basically says that the son like got that acting job on his own volition. He didn't even mention that his mother was Blaze because she's like really big.
He didn't mention his mother was famous.
on
And he's
television.
like, and you didn't care.
And she's like trying to explain how she does care and everything, and he's like, no, like that's all women do is say they care, but they don't actually care. And
You're all like sluts and
that's why
liars.
That's
and
why I had to specifically kill women and all this stuff.
he's just a raging misogynist.
Huge misogynist, and is very like misguided and thinking that every women. Wow, I cannot talk. Sorry, every woman is like out to get him and out to get men, and like he acts like a.
Well, he also thinks that he's like I guess protecting his son.
Yeah, from other women because they're gonna like treat him wrong and
He's
stuff
like, you know,
this.
you're trying to turn on our own son. Like, who would do that and all this stuff?
God, he like. It's convincing too because it's like he's just like you're just like seeing him turn into this. He's already murdered a bunch of people, but his like conviction is like
Yeah.
such a giant dickbag convention. So like his reason for killing all these women is like the fucking douchiest thing on the planet.
Well, that and like, I mean,
It's the fucking most misogynistic, asshole-ish reason to kill these women. These
What-
poor women that he's just like picking
Just
up
met,
the street.
yeah. and you do get one of, I think, probably your favorite lines when he's like, he puts his like head on like her chest.
This is my favorite line of the
And
entire
is
movie.
like, I can hear your heartbeat.
I don't like that.
I don't like that. And then he starts getting her ready.
Yep.
He like strings her up. He like raises the elevator.
Oh, he also says, okay, sorry, I have to interject a little bit because he also says a quote that's very, very, very relatable to anyone who lived through.
Oh yeah.
through
I had a,
20
he's like,
through 2020. I've had a very bad year. It's like right before he gets her up and everything, he's like,
I've had a very bad year. Next year, it's gonna be better.
yep. Because he's like talking about like New Year's resolutions because it's New Year's Evil.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's talking about like his resolution is to never let women like bring him down again. And
And he's gonna spend all. It's only gonna be him and his son.
he also mentions that like in the weirdest fucking like fashion, he mentions that basically the wife has castrated him by not
Yes.
letting him be like a man.
What? Yeah.
What a fucking
And that's all women do. And he's like, I'm not gonna let you do that to our
what
son.
an absolute fucking unit. This fucking stupid fucking idiot. Like, goddamn.
And he's not gonna let her castrate their boy either. Well,
No.
Ever.
They're not gonna castrate him, and I'm a huge fucking douchebag, misogynistic asshole. Fuck.
but he strings her up, and like, what he
like-
does is like, there's like that chain that hangs off the bottom of like elevators.
Yeah.
He like ties her, like handcuffs her to that, and starts basically. He's like, you're gonna have a lot of time to think, going up and going down.
Yep.
Because what he's gonna basically does is he lifts her up
So
all the way to the top of the building.
that's why it showed that he can manipulate the elevator.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's gonna take it all the way to the top.
And then all the way to the bottom.
All
and
the way-
smash her.
Yep.
And we get some good stunts because we get like a fucking stunt person just hanging off an elevator.
Well, yeah, like, they actually did that. It's not like they
It's not trickery.
didn't cheese it.
No, it's not. It's not trickery.
So they lift her up, and she's like, they're dropping her down, and he starts like moving it down very quickly, and the cops show up and like blow up the circuit
Well,
board.
yeah, we get like a shootout, and they blow up the circuit board right before the end.
Yep. So it stops before she can like die.
And they chase him up to the very top of the building. And he puts on his fucking memer mask
He puts on the memer mask and then quotes fucking Hamlet.
and drops. And they're like, I love how like he's like looking at like the edge of the fucking building, and the cops like, don't do it, you creep. They're just like, oh fuck's sake, he's gonna kill himself.
Yep.
And then he does.
And he fucking yeets himself off the building.
I just love how the cops are like, oh for fuck's sake.
Like, god damn it.
And then he yeets himself off, dies, and his son is there, like fucking devastated.
Yep. Like,
And he takes his mask off. And the next thing we see is the woman on like a gurney.
getting loaded into an ambulance.
And they load it in, and the fucking orderly's like, okay, let's go.
And,
And
then,
then-
like, you see the mask turning around.
And it's the son in the meme mask, and he fucking murdered the
And he
driver.
He looks over, and the driver's dead in the passenger seat. And then end movie.
end movie, and we
Well,
get the
let's say they drive away and end movie.
awesome theme song again.
I guarantee they were trying to like set this up for like a fucking like.
Were they?
Well, I almost guarantee they were hoping this gained a sequel because they obviously wanted to use that mask more.
What kind of a unit makes a slasher movie that doesn't end on a fucking like gotcha?
Well,
Everyone
of course,
does.
they have to have the gotcha. Of course they do. But
You
like,
can't like
But
no.
why introduce the mask if they're not going to try and make that like a thing?
I have no idea. You know why? Because
Of course there has to be a gotcha, but the gotcha could have just been the son in the seat.
no,
They didn't have to put the mask on him.
we had to have the mask because
It
I want it.
I want that mask really bad.
Because if you show up wearing that thing at a party, I guarantee you would get a lot of laughter. Everyone would be like, "What the fuck are you wearing?"
Yeah, it's not.
Just look it up. Look up New Year's Evil.
Just look up
mask.
New Year's Evil. You can even just look up New Year's Evil, and the mask will show up. I did for getting a fucking Instagram post for this.
Because, yeah, if you look up like pictures from this movie, like the mask is prominently there, which is kind of weird because like it's only in the movie for like 5 minutes.
I don't get why it's a big thing. I really don't. There's no reason for it, but I don't know. Anyway, like mask aside, this movie is actually pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's 80s slasher steez.
I liked this a lot.
It's great. There's some great imagery in here. The effects are really good. I think they're well done. I think the story is simple, but like good enough to like continue the like carry the movie the entire way through.
It goes by at a very good pace.
Yeah, like it's well paced. There's no like really like slowdown times because it's like only an hour and a half long, but he's literally just murdering people like the entire movie, and you get a few snippets of her like reacting to him, but like mostly it's just him like slashing people, and there's only like 7 deaths in this movie, but they're all like really well shot. They're really well done. I don't know, like for a B movie, you could do a lot worse than this movie.
It's a lot worse.
Like even in the slasher genre, there's like a ton of shittier slashers.
Yeah, no, this is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Like I almost maybe might add this to my New Year's like watch-a-thon if I like ever do one.
I mean, it's the only
like New Year's unless you want to watch the fucking rom-com bullshit.
Yeah,
New
not
Year's Day, whatever.
Not including that nonsense.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the only one I can think of that's like oriented around New Year's Eve
and very oriented around it.
Well, it's essential to the plot.
Yeah, like it's not just like, you know, oh, baby's first window dressing. No, it's very essential.
Yes. But yeah, no, I like this movie a lot, and I definitely watch it again. I definitely recommend it.
I think if you like this kind of shit,
if you like this kind of like steezy, fucking like kind of campy, sleazy slasher movies, they're like it's actually pretty decent. I really liked it.
You owe yourself a glance at this thing.
If you just want like a fun, turn your brain off slasher movie that you can just like enjoy and like, because even the acting's pretty good. I liked the girl who played Blaze. I thought she did a really good job.
I liked the killer.
The son was a little hammy, I will admit. Like, he was a little like hamming it up. I just didn't like the son. I don't know. I thought his character was kind of just all over the place, and I thought he wasn't really necessary to anything except for the boom moment.
At the end.
Like, yeah. That is literally the only reason the son is in the entire movie, and it's kind of like weird. I wish they would have fleshed him out a little bit more, but they didn't. He's just for the boom at the end.
Pretty much.
But like I liked every other character, like even like the short times the detectives are on the the movie, they're not bad. The band is convincing.
We get the lit music.
The lit music. I mean, it looks really good. The cinematography is pretty decent. There's just nothing to really hate here if you're a fan of these kind of movies. If you're not a fan of these kind of movies, you're probably gonna hate it.
Yes.
And I totally understand how people could not like this movie, but I really liked it. I thought it was entertaining as hell, and I wish it was longer because I was just enjoying the hell out of it.
No, I think, I mean, for me, it's also good because there's no fat. It's all meat.
Exactly.
It's cut, all the fat's cut out. It's
just a quick, fun little slasher ride. That's all. That's all you need sometimes. It's just entertaining. It grabs you. It keeps you interested the whole time, and then it ends on a high note, and you're good. Like you're just like, okay, you know what? Hour and a half well spent.
You got a smile on your face.
Exactly.
It's fine.
Shitty to pretty. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, we're gonna give this pretty high praises.
It's a 1.
Yeah, it's a 1. After all that, it's a 1.
I hated it. No, I'd give it a 9.
I give it a 9 just because, again, I had a little nitpicks with it. It's not like a perfect B movie.
It's not the perfect slasher.
No, just because there's some characters that don't go anywhere. I mentioned the son. There's some like weird stuff. I don't know. Like it's really good movie. And like I said, you can listen to all my nitpicks during the fucking play-by-play, but like but like just for that, just for like all the stuff, like it just doesn't earn perfect praise for me.
Yeah.
Just because I think there's some things they could have done a little bit better, but again, that doesn't take away from the fact that it's a really good movie.
It doesn't take away from the fact that it's fun as fuck.
It is fun as fuck to watch, and I definitely think you should watch it. Hopefully by this point you have watched it, and you agree with us. If you don't, I get it, but you know,
It is what it is.
it is what it is. You like the movies you like. It's fine.
It's fun. This is our baby.
But man, like again, the '80s is here and it's in full force. Like
It is in full force.
just with this movie alone, you can tell like this is just drenched in the fucking '80s.
It's got that atmosphere.
Yeah, it is like drowning in '80s, and which is weird. And I mentioned this while we were watching the movie. It's weird to me that like just a year, like it's literally just the next decade, and the movies look so much different from the
Yeah.
'70s. It's such a weird flip because it's like holy shit, like this is literally like just a year later, and they look so much better, like so much more colorful. I don't understand like what happened, like because I like the '70s and I like movies from the '70s. One of my favorite horror movies is from the '70s, but like I just don't understand how '70s movies look like kind of grainy. The colors aren't as like bright and everything, and then you get like literally just like a few years later, and it looks like this.
You know what? You know what else it is? At least as far as this movie goes, it's a canon movie.
Now, like, listen, I'm kind of normie, so there's probably a reason for that, and you can fucking blast me if you want to, but like,
I don't.
it's a weird thing to view literally from the 1979 to 1980, how different the fucking movies look.
Yes.
They look entirely different. Like, it's a whole fucking new genre.
Yep.
It's fucking weird. I think it's weird, at least. It's just a weird observation. But, like, that's what this podcast does. Like, we gotta kind of get to see how movies
Growth.
have progressed over the years.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing, too, I think.
Yeah. We get to see, I guess, how the B movie.
Yep, how the B
evolves.
movie like evolves and changes, because obviously we've watched like Uwe Boll films, which we know like king pinnacle stupid bullshit B movie.
It's
You
not
know.
even worth mentioning.
No,
It's not. It's just,
but like we've seen those, and like, but we've also seen like really high class like B movies that like not a lot of people talk about that are really good, and I don't know, I like that podcast because we get to see growth, we get to see like
Everything.
things happen.
Well, we get to see everything.
And it's great. And like we appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. Those of you that have, or if you're new, like welcome. It's
If
gonna
this
be.
is your favorite movie of all time and you're gonna find out about us from this, thank you.
Listen, if it's your favorite movie of all time, good, because it's actually a decent movie. Like it's okay if it's your favorite movie because it's actually pretty good.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's a really fun movie. Like I'd definitely watch this again, and I definitely would show it to someone who
Appreciates this.
likes these kind of slasher movies, because I like them a lot. But yeah, that's all I have to say. It's just a good movie. Go watch New Year's Evil.
Watch New Year's Evil. It's
It's
fucking streaming on
definitely-
Prime. So
Definitely worth your time. 100%.
100.
Yeah.
think that's it.
Anything else? So
No.
we all good?
Just to fucking.
All right,
go
let's
watch it.
fucking end this bitch. For they mostly come out at night. This has been Will,
This has been Alex.
and we will talk to you all later.
Bye bye.
Call me Evil.
Evil.